on our left side you have the tower of a castle, just in front of us a castle and a roof behind, so you have three similar castles, and this is not very far from Erfurt town. Erfurt town was very well developed in the Middle Age time because it was a trade line for merchants and for trading, for international trading in the 14th century. That's true, and all the merchants and all the goods had to be transported through this valley, so-called Via Regia. Via means the way or the street, no, the way, yeah, the road. Via Regia, the King's Road, yeah. And we have those three castles to watch, not to wait. You remember Wartburg, yeah? To watch all the merchants to get taxes from them, of course. And later, when we visit the town of Erfurt, it was also a town of merchants and a town of trade, and all people arriving in the town in the Middle Age time, they had to cross the tower gate, and of course they had to pay taxes to stay inside the town, to stay inside the wall, to spend a secure night. So this was life in Middle Age time, no? And here you have these three castles, and it is in the German language they call die drei gleichen, so three similar castles. This is the story about this very special place to control the trade road to Erfurt. And it would be interesting to try to understand the society situation in the Middle Age time. You can follow these ideas in religious purposes and in economical purposes. I told you the situation to transport goods in these times of war, in these times of insecurity through the country or through the lands. All the merchants had the need to get protection, and they hoped to get protection inside the walls of a town, of a secure town, and they had to pay money for it. As well, the people were always looking for security for their own personal life, because they were threatened by war, they were threatened by illness, they were threatened by loss of goods and whatever. And so they went to the church, to the clergy, to ask for security. And there's a link. It is difficult to understand in our modern times, but we can look for a way to understand this difficult situation. As a merchant has to pay money to spend a safe night inside the walls of a town, at that time it was necessary to spend some money to get the kind of security for a personal life in religious aspects. And so we heard this morning about the problem of the indulgence. It was a kind of insurance to pay for it and to hope to be safe later. And now you have to imagine. We should be aware the people in the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th century, they were not really illiterate people, or they were not silly people. They always tried to find the best of their life, of course, as we do today. And so this misuse of the indulgences was a kind of, you may think about it, a kind of insurance. Yeah? Please imagine nowadays we are living and we try to protect our goods and our needs we want to have security about our health and whatever, and you can understand. We pay a lot of money for insurances. We have many insurances, yeah, for our health, for our car. We have insurance for our house, whatever. And you can combine these two things. Indulgences is like insurances. Yeah? It's not the same, of course, but it's similar. It's a little bit similar. There's another very important point. At that time, there were, of course, the rich people or the noble families. They always wanted to have the memory of deceased persons of the noble family of all the generations. They want to get everlasting memory of these dead dukes or kings or whatever. And so they asked the clergymen to do the work, the everyday's work, to pray every day for the deceased duke or king or whatever, or the princess. So they were priests and monks, clergymen, and Martin Luther himself, he had some contact with these situations. The priests were just trained they were just trained in repeating all the prayers of the Holy Mass, and this was just for one single person of a noble family, whatever. And you find in each medieval church you find big tombs or big boats for the generations of noble families, and you have big epitaphs, and they paid a lot of money for this, and they engaged 2 or 3 clergy workers to do the prayer work every day. So this was, of course, this was a development not very good for Christian or for personal belief, but this was the situation in the Middle Age time. And so it was very important by the words of Martin Luther to find a new way to think about personal relationship and personal belief to God, that God Himself will grant you everything you need, and it is not necessary to invest a lot of money to get something about security, about your life after death. Okay, these are many ideas about the life in medieval society, and it was very good that a literate person like Martin Luther, he could think about these problems, he could find new ways to explain and to help people to find another way to believe and to worship in a personal way to God. So we may think about all these ideas when we visit our places of interest this day and the next days.